John Manuelian, criminal defense attorney, want to bring you in on this because we've heard all these talks, theories that the defense will try to say Michael Jackson took that propofol himself. So when I heard that, I said, wait a second, that could be the defense's case right there. He loved doing this himself. Murray wouldn't let him do it, right? Because he's a good doctor. He wouldn't let that happen. But here, we hear of the two of them, this is what Michael used to say to him. How do you think this plays out?
I think it's ultimately going to come down to how the defense is going to be able to explain the 4 gallons of propofol that was ordered and the timeline, because that's what the key issue is here. Even if Dr. Murray wanted to wean him off the drugs, they still have to explain to the jury why did he order so much propofol if he was planning on doing that, and where was he when Michael Jackson died. The other things like the addiction and the humanization of Dr. Conrad Murray and Michael Jackson, that's all well and good, but when they come down to the jury instructions, they're going to be reminded they took an oath to weigh all of the evidence, the totality of the evidence, and see whether or not the case has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt as to, number 1, the abandonment issue, and number 2, whether or not this Michael Jackson actually died of acute propofol intoxication. So the defense hasn't really gone yet. It's early in the proceeding. I think we're going to hear more about what the defense is going to do as the case goes forward.
But isn't that part of what they're going to do here? They're going to try to show Michael Jackson was the type of person that could infuse this drug himself, that could do this himself, as opposed to Dr. Conrad Murray, who would have tried to take care of his patient.
Yeah, but insinuating that and inferring that's not going to be enough for the jury. They're going to want to know more hard evidence, and I think without the hard evidence, it's going to be very difficult for a jury to come to a conclusion.
And I have to say, this reminds me of when pushers will say, well, he wanted to do this, but I wouldn't give him that. It's very pusher-esque. All right, more when we come right back. John Manuelian, defense attorney, we've been talking about whether people are going to take Dr. Conrad Murray's statement to the cops literally, or are they going to read into it and allow their emotions to be swayed by his self-serving comments and his tone, and will they then sort of deviate from the letter of the law and go with the spirit of his comments, which was essentially, I was strong-armed into doing something I didn't want to do?
I have to admit, Jane, the audio tapes did humanize him. I would have never, by the way, brought my client in and walked him in with a red carpet and had him speak to the police, but it does benefit him to the extent that it humanizes him. But he's inconsistent, and his inconsistencies are going to be used against him. It's a double-edged sword. So he's got that problem. He's not told the truth. His timeline is off. And ultimately, it may hurt his case. So whether or not he's sympathetic to the jury might not matter in the end if his statements are deemed to be inconsistent, and that might actually hurt him in the long run.